Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm giving you an update on my stock portfolio, which is now sitting at about $14,300. I'll walk you through my holdings, some moves I've made, and what I'm planning on doing going forward. If you like these portfolio updates, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you can follow along as I build toward my bigger goals. So right now my portfolio is valued at about $14,300. That's spread across a mix of ETFs, dividend stocks, and growth names. I'm focused on long-term approaches, steady compounding through dividends plus growth from big tech companies. My main goal is to scale this to $20,000, then $50,000, and then eventually $100,000 and over in the next few years. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the holdings. I go ahead and hold VU. That's just your standard ETF that you always want to have in your portfolio as your foundation. It's honestly my core holding. It's an S&P 500 and it gives me instant diversification across the top United States companies. I don't have to stress about the timing of the market here. It just compounds over time, which is nice because I just get to sit back and then gain a free 263 bucks, which isn't necessarily free because I did have to put an initial investment in. But when you make that by, rather than just putting it in a savings account, it's a pretty good bargain. I also invest in Visa, which is one of my favorite stocks, believe it or not. Even though people think it's just a credit card company, Visa is actually a payments network that earns money every time a transaction happens. So every time, if you have a Visa card, that is, if you go in, make a swipe payment, tap, just buying groceries or anything, they get a little cut of your money. Like they get a margin of your money just by making the transaction. They have 50% margins, at least with their 2025 income statement report sheet, and it is pretty cool. They do have a rather low dividend though, sitting at less than 1%, 0.69%. But I do believe that it's a dividend growth king, and the compounding growth for the dividend will continue to grow. But I'm not even focused on dividend growth when it comes to Visa, if I'm being 100% honest. I really care about the capital growth when it comes to Visa, if I'm being honest with you. I've earned about $320 from this stock alone, and it's down right now. I used to have damn near a $600 return, but it's down. I went ahead and bought some today. I bought about $50 worth of Visa. Let me just scroll down. Yeah, yeah, just about over 50 bucks worth of Visa. I have been investing in it recently. Invested a few, 2 days ago, which is pretty nice. I don't really pay attention to any of the analytic ratings, if I'm being honest. I kind of just evaluate the stock myself and go from there. I still think it's pretty high to be buying, but if we go ahead and look at the year to date, honestly it's been up like for most of the year around 350 bucks. So I'm glad that it's dipping towards 200, or I'm sorry, 330. So that's why I'm going ahead and buying this stock, because I really think it's going to be great for the future, especially since we're going more towards tech. Aside from Visa, another growth giant that I do like to invest in would be Google. Their search dominance, they own YouTube, and their cloud services make them a long-term hold for me. I have about almost $2,500 in this stock, and it's my biggest return as of today. That's almost 30%, and it's almost 20% of my portfolio diversity, which I do think is a little too concentrated, but I'm going to start buying more VU throughout the year, honestly, because that's just the smarter move overall. I'm not, a hedge fund genius nor a financial advisor. I've earned a little $2 dividend from them, or no, it's coming up actually. And yeah, this is a pretty good stock to have. I had bought very low during the dip. I had about 3 shares, 5 shares when the dip started. I have about 10 shares now, going on 10 and a half. And I'm not really going to buy because, it's at its, 52-week high. I was buying around its 52-week low. My average share price is 185 bucks. So if you happen to get on the Google train, congrats to you. Hats off to you. I'm happy you saw something that everyone else didn't. They won their Google Chrome lawsuit, so they didn't have to pretty much dismantle their company. And after that news, the stock went up. So that just proves that you can't sell due to short-term news. You got to hold long-term and think long-term when it comes to this investing stuff. Moving on to my next stock, as you guys can probably tell, I love investing in compounding growth companies, and Amazon would happen to be one of them. But they don't even have a dividend yield yet. But I do feel like this is a personal opinion here, so don't quote me on it. They will have a dividend within the next 5 years, and by that time comes, I should have accumulated a good amount of shares. As of right now, I'm sitting at about almost 10 and a half shares. Average cost 215, which is pretty high considering it's almost at its 52-week high, but it's okay. It's not that bad. I went ahead and bought some today since it did dip. I bought about same amount as whatchamacallit, Visa. Put in about $54, which is pretty solid. Like I said, don't really pay attention to the analytics, although 94 and a half of them say buy. I am buying a little bit, not gonna lie, and it's also a very concentrated position in my portfolio, sitting at about 18%, which again is gonna go lower as I invest more into VU throughout the rest of the year. I've earned a total return of 132 bucks. Was it isn't great compared to how the stock has performed within the last year, but I did buy pretty low, and this is only a almost 6% return. Imagine when it hits 10, 20. So I'm really just kind of still looking towards the future on Amazon, and honestly, it's not going to go anywhere. It's still a powerhouse in the e-commerce and AWS business. AWS is a profit machine, and I see Amazon continuing to expand its logistics, ads, and AI in the near coming future. Another no-brainer stock to have in my opinion is Microsoft. Between its cloud computing, AI, and their massive software ecosystem, they have one of the strongest business models in the world, and that's why I continue to invest in them. I have almost $1,800 put into them. Decent return, have had a $500 return on them, but they have dipped in the recent weeks. Have 3.5 shares invested, and it's not too concentrated. Actually, that's cap. It's a little concentrated in my portfolio, but don't even have to explain why it's going to go lower in the near coming year. A year to date, it's up a lot. And I was thinking about buying like right here, like I wanted to buy, but I was telling myself, oh, nah, this is too high. It's going to dip lower. And that's exactly why you just dollar cost average into things, okay? Don't be like me and make mistakes, because I probably could have had right now like a cool $400 return on a 20%, basis of return, if you know what I'm trying to say. My average share cost is 424 bucks, which is pretty decent compared to the share price now. And it's up a pretty good amount today. Loki carried the S&P 500. It's up almost $9 pretty much. It's up, yeah, up $9, yeah, which is pretty cool, guys. I really think that you should be investing in this company if you want to see some growth for the future. And another interesting stock that I do want to show you guys is not like an average core holding of my portfolio. It's actually an IPO that just launched today. It's called Via Transportation. It's a tech company that handles transportation statements and all that good stuff. And I really see them growing for the future. And I also kind of just took a gamble because I wanted to see if I could invest in them. I'm up $4 right now. The It doesn't really show what I bought it at, but I bought it at $44, and now it's up, which I think is pretty cool. But it did launch on a Friday, so markets closed Saturday, Sunday, and I think that it will shoot up eventually when the market opens on Monday. But it can also just go straight down in the red, so I don't really know. Just let me know if you guys invested in this IPO or any other IPOs you're investing in, because I really feel like it's a new thing when it comes to stocks, at least for Robinhood for me, and I just want to know your guys' opinion on it. The last holding that I have in my portfolio is actually a bond. It's called SGov. It's a 0 to 3 month treasury fund. I kind of just park my free cash there that I want to invest when I'm just kind of waiting for serious market dips so I can get the stocks that I want at a good price. I've earned 33 cents on it so far, and it's 3% of my portfolio, which I think is right, because I mean it's just bonds, so it's not really terrible. I have almost 4 shares of it, and they do pay a monthly dividend, which is pretty solid. I really suggest, if you guys have some money laying around, you don't want it to sit in the bank or your high yield savings, and you kind of just want to throw it into Robinhood, put in this treasury bond. You literally have nothing to lose, and it just sits there as a vehicle to move your money while it's idle. And last but not least, the last thing that rounds up my portfolio to the amount that it is my Roth IRA. It's very subtle. I have about $152 in gains this year, a 12% return, which is pretty damn solid. I have about the same return in my brokerage, which I like beat the S&P 500 in. But as you can see here, I'm just holding QQQ, which is nothing too crazy at all. It's just pretty much VU, just more tech oriented. As you can see, the top holdings are Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Broadcom, Amazon, yada yada yada. I hold mostly S&P 500 companies, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Visa's in there, just it's not as concentrated since it's financial rather than tech. But yeah, guys, that pretty much wraps up my video. I just put it down in the comments how much you guys have made so far this year, your percentage returns. how much you've initially invested. I just want to know more about your guys' portfolios and what you have going on. With all that being said, I hope you guys have a good day and take it easy. Peace.